Miami Dolphins head coach Adam Gase gets his quarterback Ryan Tannehill back in the fold this season. Have they made enough improvements around him to get back to the playoffs in 2018? We'll explore that and other notes and tidbits as we preview the Dolphins' 2018 season. Let's dive into some of the key storylines heading into the season as we go into our 4-minute offense. The Miami Dolphins welcome back their starting quarterback Ryan Tannehill this season, and if it feels like number 17 has been gone forever, that's because he hasn't played since 2016, recovering from a knee injury and the re-injury of that repaired knee last year. The hope is that he can step right back into this offense and pick up right where he left off a year and a half ago. I think consistency from game to game is what you expect from him, which will be much more than what the Dolphins had last year from their quarterback situation. Miami made it a point to shake things up along the defensive line. Gone is Ndamukong Suh, which is a big loss in my opinion. In comes defensive end Robert Quinn from the Los Angeles Rams, who was acquired via trade. Akeem Spence was also acquired in a trade from the Detroit Lions to provide some pressure on the interior. Now they are expecting big things from not only these two acquisitions, but also from veteran players like defensive tackles Jordan Phillips, Vincent Taylor, and Devon Gottschall, as well as last year's first-round pick defensive end Charles Harris. We know Cam Wake will be Cam Wake, but if these other pieces and additions can pan out, then the Dolphins' defensive line will be a force to be reckoned with. The Miami Dolphins backfield will look a lot more versatile in 2018. We finally saw Kenyon Drake get an opportunity to prove himself as the lead back, and he responded well by leading the team in rushing and finishing the year with 32 receptions for 239 yards. In the offseason, they signed future Hall of Famer Frank Gore to be sort of the complimentary guy. Now, Gore has rushed for over 14,000 yards in his career, but I don't think he gets enough credit for how good he is in the passing game, both as a blocker and also as a receiver. And in the draft, they added Kalen Ballage, out of Arizona State, who put on a route running clinic at the Senior Bowl this past January and has a lot of the same traits as Kenyon Drake. In my opinion, this shows you the offensive emphasis for new Dolphins offensive coordinator Dwayne Loggins. Both he and head coach Adam Gase value backs that are passing game assets, and all three of these guys can both block and catch. So expect a lot of involvement in the passing game coming from the backfield because of their versatility. Speaking of versatility, in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Dolphins hit a home run with a Minkah Fitzpatrick selection out of Alabama. He filled a big-time need in the secondary, which was a versatile matchup piece with ball skills. Some still question where he will play primarily in the secondary, and my answer to that is simply in the secondary. Just having him out there is a problem for opposing offenses. Fitzpatrick turns what was already a solid group into a big-time strength on this team. And that ties directly into one of the reasons for optimism for the Miami Dolphins, and that's the secondary. They have some excellent personnel on the back end with Rashad Jones, Cordrea Tankersley, Bobby McCain, TJ McDonald, Xavier Howard, and they get back Tony Lippett from injury and the aforementioned Minkah Fitzpatrick. This is a group that can match up well across the board with any personnel or offensive grouping and can excel in both man or zone coverage. Being solid on the back end in today's NFL is always going to be a reason for optimism. The Dolphins' tight end youth is another good reason why you should be excited about the upcoming season. I absolutely love the two selections in the draft, and Mike Gesicki and Durham Smythe. Both complement each other well and will add another dimension to the passing game that wasn't there before. And we've spoken about the backfield versatility as well. Creating favorable matchups in the passing game from the backfield is going to yield positive results for this Dolphins offense, and it won't matter who the back is in the backfield, as the threat will be the same. I also believe that you can be optimistic about the receiving core as well. I know they lost a huge piece in Jarvis Landry, but they've done a solid job in bringing in guys to help offset that loss. Case in point, guys like Danny Amendola or Albert Wilson can serve in a similar role as Landry did. Plus, we saw the emergence of Jakeem Grant last season, and I feel as though we'll see Devontae Parker emerge this year as more of a weapon in this offense. So don't sleep on the Dolphins receiving core in 2018. I think a cause for concern would be the offensive line. Losing center Mike Pouncey was a big blow to the continuity on the interior. You hope that both Josh Sitton and Daniel Kilgore, who will be taking over for Pouncey, can keep that interior of the offensive line a strength. The tackle spots with Jawan James and Laramie Tunsil have slight questions heading into the season. James because he's recovering from an injury, and Tunsil because he's had issues with game-to-game consistency. Hopefully he finds that this season and becomes the premier player that his talent suggests. Another cause for concern would be Ryan Tannehill. You hope that there is no rust, but you can expect there to be some rust considering the long layoff. You also hope that he's able to shake it off during the preseason. And if he's fully healthy and ready to go, he still has to overcome his own averageness to fully push his team over the hump. Situational football is where you want to see him take significant strides this upcoming season. Here are some quick Dolphins takes as they head into training camp. Offensive and defensive breakout candidates this year for me will be wide receiver Devontae Parker and linebacker Raekwon McMillan. I fully expect Parker to make huge strides in this game and become a solid intermediate threat in the Dolphins' passing attack. And we were robbed of McMillan's rookie season last year because of an injury, but now that he's back healthy, he'll anchor the middle of that Fins defense and be a stud. Some training camp surprises will be guard Isaac Asiata and defensive end Charles Harris, the two second-year players at key spots that'll prove to be well worth their selections last year. Asiata was barely active last season, and Harris only registered 2 sacks. Both getting acclimated to the pro game along the line of scrimmage should help yield better results this time around. Rookie standouts this year, I think you can't go wrong with both Kalen Ballage on offense and Minkah Fitzpatrick on the defensive side. Ballage can not only help out the passing game, but can also help improve a questionable special teams unit as well. Fitzpatrick's playmaking ability will show itself early and often for the Aqua and Orange this year. And from a fantasy football perspective, I would target Jakeem Grant. Size is not a skill, and Grant proved that last year as he more than held his own on the outside and proved to be a guy that can rack up yards after the catch and put the ball in the end zone. I think he's a super sleeper that can help you win some games in your fantasy league. The road to the Super Bowl for the Dolphins goes as follows. The Fins' ground game has to be productive, and that's productivity on both fronts, rushing and receiving. I know the receiving aspect will be there, but they have to be a better rushing team this year if they want to be successful. Also, Ryan Tannehill is able to build on that 2016 season. He was having his best year yet, both statistically and with team success. If he can regain that form and take more steps forward, then the Dolphins will be very tough to beat. And finally, the defensive pressure has to go all the way up. The Dolphins could not get home to the quarterback last year, only registering 30 sacks, which was tied for 26th in the NFL. So it's imperative that they increase the pressure up front, because if they do, we know they have the back end to make quarterbacks pay for throwing rushed, inaccurate passes. I have the Dolphins finishing 3rd in the AFC East. I think Miami will be highly competitive week in, week out, and competitive enough that they'll be in the playoff hunt for sure. Now, the improvement along the offensive line and defensive front seven could determine whether or not they actually get to the postseason this year. So that's it for our 2018 NFL season team preview. Be sure to follow me on all of our social media accounts. Also, check out and subscribe on iTunes to Football Game Plan Podcast, and to find other NFL team previews for our 2018 NFL season kickoff, visit the YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan and click that subscribe button.